How do dark fantasy anime show despair's psychological impact? Imagine being trapped in a world where hope is a flickering light and every step feels heavier than the last. Dark fantasy anime often paint this picture vividly, showing us how despair can deeply affect the mind. These series focus on characters who face relentless trauma, loss, and moral ambiguity. Watching them struggle with repeated failures or brutal deaths, like in stories similar to Ray, Zero, helps us see how despair wears down mental strength over time. These characters often experience depression, anxiety, and even existential crises, making their internal battles feel real and raw. What makes these anime stand out is how they avoid wrapping everything up in a neat bow. Instead, they show despair in its purest form. Sometimes characters quietly break without hope of recovery. This approach reminds us that mental health struggles are often complex and not always resolved easily. The emotional scenes are intense and unfiltered, focusing on mental illness and emotional breakdowns without sugarcoating the pain. Visually, dark fantasy anime use stark and surreal imagery to mirror mental states. Think of scenes with hallucinations, dissociation, or emotional numbness, all created with muted or dark color palettes. These visuals make the viewer feel the oppressive atmosphere, emphasizing internal chaos and hopelessness. The themes often revolve around isolation, losing innocence, and searching for meaning amid suffering. Characters confront their own darkness and the cruelty of their worlds, which can lead to feelings of nihilism or a desperate clutching onto faint hope. The psychological horror elements in these stories challenge how viewers see morality and sanity. They show us that despair isn't just a personal feeling but a reflection of a world that can be indifferent or corrupted. These portrayals help us understand mental health struggles better by illustrating how trauma shapes decisions and identity in extreme situations. For fans, this depth adds layers to the story, making it more than just entertainment. It becomes a mirror for real human emotions and struggles. In the end, dark fantasy anime reveal despair's psychological impact by immersing us in characters, mental suffering through realistic emotional breakdowns, gritty storytelling, and powerful visuals. They show us how fragile the human mind can be when faced with relentless hardship, making the experience both intense and thought-provoking.